you believe that we started recording right in the middle of 2020 with all of the COVID and lockdowns going on around us, unable to meet up? So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the internet for our entertainment. Tried to find a place where we could meet up and talk about the good, the bad, and that time that Stu saw a pelican on the canal. In order to facilitate our dreams of answering all of the big questions in film, and after a few attempts at recording via other methods to various levels of success, we found Zencastr, a super easy web-based one-stop shop for recording. Log in and you're ready to record in a matter of seconds. It doesn't take a tech genius to get high-quality audio or video. And on top of that, the one time we have had an issue, the fact that the multi-layered backups are stored locally means it's easily fixed all in browser. There are plenty of tools you need when you start podcasting, so let Zencastr take that headache away as it offers a place to record, edit and distribute all from one website. Any lazy bones Jones can pick up and play and have studio quality audio or 4K video put out for the world to see when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CAGEFIGHTING and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. And now, hit the music.
I feel the need for speed.
Hello and welcome to Cage Fighting : Cruise Control. Your main man Andy Gillard here. Hope everybody's keeping well in the world right now.
Hi guys, it's a two-man job tonight and you're stuck with me for this one. But I'm going to look forward to this one. So we've got the Cagey Awards for Cruise's 90's films. We're going to do an Odyssey review. We're watching a film called Finding Daddy and Mission Impossible 2. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume that you're probably most excited about talking about the Odyssey and not so much Mission Impossible 2. Yeah, we'll get to it, but Jesus Christ. Yeah.
It's been a week of highs and lows, I think, hasn't it, really?
The highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Yeah, very much so. So you may remember about 6 weeks, or maybe 10 weeks ago at this point, we discussed Cruise in the 1980s films, as we'd done all of those, and we then handed out some Cagey Awards. So we're going to do that again just for his 90s films. So the films that he released during the 1990s were Days of Thunder, Far and Away, A Few Good Men, The Firm, Interview with the Vampire, Mission Impossible, Jerry Maguire, Eyes Wide Shut, and Magnolia. Even The Bad is better than a lot of other actors' best work, I feel. Yeah. We've had some stinkers, but in the grand scheme, when I say stinker, I think they're a stinker on Cruise's level rather than a more generic level.
Yeah, you look at that, and if you do it on a wavy chart, the highs are very high, but the lows are not that low. Well,
they're kind of middle-ish, aren't they?
Apart from two, but we'll get to them. We'll get to them.
I think at least one of those two is kind of... I think it's liked, but I just don't think it's particularly a good movie. But we will get to them. We'll get to them. So let's start with the best performance. Last time out, it was Born on the 4th of July, which was his Oscar-nominated performance. And I think that I'm going to follow trend, and I think that Magnolia, which is his next Oscar-nominated performance, is the one for me. I think that's the best performance he's given, let alone the best performance he's given in the 1990s.
I looked at it and I looked through all the things, and as much as I want to be biased or anything like that, you have to go with the one that he got the most plaudits for. And I know I disagreed with you and Stu about the film in a sense, but there's no denying how good he was in Magnolia. I'd challenge anyone to say that's not been his performance of the 90s. And the response shows to say he got nominated for the Oscars for that, and it's completely fair game for that.
Yeah, and in fairness, like if you look at probably the two other big hitters of the decade, Jerry Maguire, I think he's very good in, but he's kind of outshone a little bit in that movie. Like there's flashier performances, so I think he didn't get quite the due that he was due there. And A Few Good Men, again, like he's going toe to toe with some of the biggest names in the business, and he doesn't let the side down. So there's some very good performances in that bunch for me.
That was the one I was trying to convince myself to say that could be the answer, but it's not, is it? Like, you can't argue with Magnolia for this.
It feels like A Few Good Men is the one where he does the most acting.
Potentially acting, yeah, because like you said in the story, he was just literally reliving the night his dad died. So that was him. I wouldn't say acting per se, but
channeling the
yes, that was it.
Yeah. So the flip side of the coin, last time out, Legend was the worst performance. What have you got for worst performance of the 90s?
I've gone for the week before. I've gone for Eyes Wide Shut. I was thinking about all the stories that you say about how he's channeled something or he's spent so much time doing something. He did fuck all for this, and it felt like it showed. When you've been so many of these films, and we've talked about how he's spent 6 months with sports agents or whatever else in the law firms and stuff like that, for him to just sit there and not do anything, and to be honest, at this point, it shows. It felt like he half-arsed it in a sense. And it did. To me.
I mean, go to a fucking swingers club for a week or something, mate. Just do a little bit of research in this one. And it just felt so, ironically, flaccid, I think, from Cruise. And we're not really used to that in a lot of his performances. Like, even Into the Vampire wasn't a film I particularly loved, but he was tremendous in it. The other one that I had down far and away, like that Irish accent, was abysmal.
Yeah, but I'm sure. Didn't you say he spent the time with farmhands and stuff like that?
Yeah, he put the effort in.
Yeah, you could feel it. Even though he swung and missed, at least he swung. Whereas with this, it didn't feel like he even swung. And at this point, we've put him on that high of a pedestal. That's the level. Like, if you're not going to swing, you're not going to. We can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you here. Best sunglasses. I don't have a lot that particularly stands out apart from the Arnett Heist 2.0, which were the ones he wore during Jerry Maguire. You know, the drunken scene where he stumbles in, and is it Ray, Jonathan Lipnicki's character? Yeah. That is the only one that like immediately jumps to my mind. So, and to be fair, they're a nice pair of shades. So that was my answer.
They were mine. I spent annoyingly amount of time today because I remember Interview with a Vampire, one of them wearing sunglasses, but I think it's Louis, which is Brad Pitt. So I couldn't remember which one wore them because I was gonna fight for that, but it's not him wearing them. So no, I quite like those sunglasses. It's not a big one, but it's a safe one.
Yeah, absolutely. Best Maverick. The last winner was Top Gun Maverick, obviously. I've got a choice of two, and I can be easily swayed, I think, on either one. So which one have you gone for?
I had to ask you what Maverick stands for, because I was thinking in terms of Maverick of being a bit of a dick, etc., and being chauvinistic, eccentric. So I was trying to put Interview with a Vampire, because say he gives it his all, he goes balls out in that film. But I think I went with Mission Impossible, because the seeds are being sown for me of the character and the bit of a dickhead, but he's lovable in that sense.
Interesting. So my first thought was Jerry Maguire, because he is that cocky, bit of a showman, bit of a prick. He has the high, the low, and then the redemption. Yeah. But then I think I went for A Few Good Men in the end was my choice, because I feel like that was just a bit, that was Jerry Maguire, but a bit bigger and a bit more important. And obviously they're both I know, because they're both related to the Air Force, if I remember correctly, or Air Force and Army or Navy, whatever it is. That was the reason I went for that one. So I think we may need to get a ruling on that one between Mission Impossible and A Few Good Men. I'll ask you if I stuck
away from Jerry Maguire because, as much as he was cocky, I think he was a little bit too lovable in that, because, say, with his relationship with the kid, he was a little bit too lovable. So I couldn't really, as much as he was a bit cocky, he did lean a little bit more lovable for me.
That's fair. That is fair. Best film then. Last time out, that was Rain Man.
I went with A Few Good Men. I loved that movie. I think it was superb. I feel like it could be I feel like we could be split here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's any surprise that my answer is Magnolia. Magnolia felt like, to me, like when I watched When Harry Met Sally for the first time a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was one of these films that I watched it and I was immediately, how have I never seen this film before? This is one of my favourite films that I think I've seen.
Yeah.
I thought it was absolutely fantastic and the acting was great. I absolutely can't argue with anyone who would say A Few Good Men, though, because that's the other standout performance and movie of this decade. And it's not just Cruise in that film; it's everybody was just completely on form for it. So,
I think either way's fair here. Either way's fair. It's 1A and 1B, really. I think they're the two standout films, aren't they? But
yeah, absolutely. Best movie.
So yeah, this is. I think I'm fighting a losing battle here, but I enjoyed Interview with a Vampire. I know I'm going to. I did. It was campy. It was enjoyable from a Cruise and thingy performance. What's her face? Not Brad Pitt. I thought Brad Pitt was awful.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst. I thought they were both superb. I thought it was good campy fun. I really enjoyed myself with that one.
Okay. Now, I went with A Few Good Men because I think of all of the big hitters, because I kind of wanted to get both of them in here, if I'm honest. I feel like A Few Good Men of these big hitters is the most accessible.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's more serious than your standard action-y fare, but I kind of feel like there's enough of the memes and the fun stuff that comes along with film that you can take from A Few Good Men as well. So whilst it probably is a film rather than a movie, I kind of wanted to honour both of them. So that's why I put A Few Good Men in this one.
Yeah.
How would you feel about best film Magnolia, best movie A Few Good Men?
Oh, I wouldn't say no to it, I don't think. I know I'm fighting a losing battle with Interview with a Vampire. But it just tickled me in the right ways. I think I was the only one that was happy about it when we reviewed it. But
yeah, it's just not as good as I remember. I think that my issue with it, because I remember really loving it around the time, and just looking back, 30 years later, doesn't quite stand up for me.
It's probably not aged well, really.
His performance is great. His performance is the saving element of that entire film. Yeah. So, let's do that then. Magnolia film, Few Good Men movie. So, the flip side to that, what is the worst experience you've had watching Cruise in the 1990s? Is it Eyes Wide Shut? Let's be honest.
No, it's not.
Okay.
That Far and like you said, that accent in Far and Away infuriated me to the nth degree. I hated it. I hated it so much. I hated seeing him naked. I hated everything about it.
It wasn't a good film, and I didn't buy their relationship, and they were quite literally balls deep in each other at that point in the real world. It just didn't work on many levels at all.
Yeah.
I think I hated Eyes Wide Shut a lot more because I just didn't have fun with it. It felt so inauthentic.
Yeah.
Like it was so placid. It was so plastic. And from what we've seen of Cruise, I mean, even we haven't mentioned Days of Thunder. Days of Thunder was shit. But at least it had a feel of authenticity because obviously he did the stunts and everything. Far and Away did have moments that I didn't hate. Like I quite liked the final battle scene thing that happened, and little things that happened in it were tolerable, but not good, but just I didn't hate it. So I've messaged you to give us a ruling on best Maverick and worst experience. He's gone with Mission Impossible and Far and Away for Maverick and worst experience. So there we go. That'll be the Cagey Award winners for this one. Right, okay. So up next we're going to be reviewing Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Welcome back. So, well, what a film. I mean, when I got out of there, I like literally as I was walking out of the cinema, I'd sent you the voice note of, we've had our fun this year, but now the big boys are here to play. And that's kind of what this film felt like to me, was that it was just this, we've had a good year, absolutely zero questions. I've seen a lot of films this year that I've really enjoyed. This felt like it was just on a complete other plane of existence to everything else.
Yeah, this, to go back to a World Cup reference, this is your Cape Verde or someone getting out of the group stages and then coming up against a juggernaut. Like, we've had feel good stories of happy sheep and sticks, one wish sticks, but then Christopher Nolan has just come in and he steamrolls it, and the non-league team in the FA Cup have got to this end, and then they've come up against City away, and it's game over now, isn't it?
Yeah, it does kind of feel like it. I mean, I know you said to me, was it Project Hail Mary, Obsession, and Sheep were your top three, and now this is in there. One of them's going to have to go, and I don't quite know who. And I feel like at this point, I'm scared of the next 5 months, because my top five is the same four as you, and the drama, more Arpats and Zendaya. Anything else that comes in, I'm going to have a real fucking hard time trying to figure out what is going to fit in there. It's been a tough year for really good stuff to stand out, because there's just been a lot of it. And like you say, this comes in and it was magnificent. Just the spectacle of this movie that was almost quite solidly practical for the vast majority of this film. Yeah. Obviously, they're not going to have a 20-foot Cyclops in reels, but they did build a Cyclops to sit in place, and all these just mad things. The one that got me was when they got to the island of the giants, and the giants are, almost double the size of the people, and that wasn't CG, that was practical. That
was big fuckers and good camera angles.
Yeah,
like
just astounding.
What do you do? He's a freak. The man's a freak. And we're all the better for it. We're living in a time that Christopher Nolan makes fucking movies. That should make any film lover rejoice. We should be honoured that we're living in this fucking timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to next week to having, rating the movies. I think he's done 13. And I think, we can do the top 10. We can do what we think, 1 to 13, whatever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, because I think there's going to be some tough questions to ask, because is it Oppenheimer or is it the Odyssey? Is the Odyssey just there because of recency bias? But I kind of feel like those are the two. And not to discount The Dark Knight, because that is a phenomenal movie.
I was going to say, surely that's putting in your top three, surely.
Probably.
Yeah,
but I genuinely need to have a sit down and think about it, because for him to have come out at this point in his career, as you say, he's done 12 films, 12 very good films. Again, even his worst film is still better than a lot of others.
Yeah,
and to just absolutely smash it out of the park in this way is incredible.
Yeah, it's a victory for cinema. This is just a victory for
absolutely
for everyone who just loves cinema. If you love going to the cinema and watching filmmaker at his peak, this is it.
Yeah, without a question of a doubt. And I'm sure I looked earlier, and I think it is currently sat in 11th place, and it's been out 5 days, 6 days at this point, recording on the Thursday. So yeah, not even a full week. It's got over 300 million. Monsters and Minions is in 10th with 368 million. Whether it breaks $1 billion or not, I don't know. But the fact that IMAX cinemas have got this movie, I think in the US until the end of August, and I think in the UK they've got until the start of September, solidly sold out. Not maybe the seats available, but they're not going to be the prime seats in a lot of these cinemas, because people just want to go and see it, and they want to see it on the biggest screen possible. I've booked for Sunday. I'm desperate to see it on the IMAX.
Oh yeah, I was just I didn't want to message you when you said you weren't watching it in IMAX. I didn't want to say you need to, because it kind of that's building it up, and I didn't want to build it up for you and then it'd be disappointing. But fuck me, it's an experience. Like the scene when after they've eaten the cows of the sun god, and the boat crashes. Fuck me, it was borderline fucking terror, borderline fucking heart racing. Boom, it's just incredible.
The storm scene, all I kept thinking when I was watching that was, I'm so glad I'm not watching this in 4DX, because I'm having fucking palpitations watching it just here on a normal seat, let alone one that's going to be throwing me around. I don't think I could have done it.
Yeah.
That scene especially I thought was enthralling, just exhilarating, the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, that and the Cersei scene. Like, just because that's not CG either, that's practical effects.
Yeah.
And that's just like, I know we've not even touched on the performances, but as we've both spoken about, just outstanding.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I really liked about it was that this just isn't an adaptation of the book, it's a reinterpretation of it, and I think that works better. I don't really want a story about the glory of war in 2026. And I mean, Christopher Nolan doesn't want that, clearly, because that's why he didn't make that film. I like the fact that it was sort of about PTSD. As I spoke about it on last week's podcast when I was talking about his auteur, this feels like a very, very typical lead character in a Christopher Nolan film, driven by guilt. Like, that is something that he seems to thrive off of. You've obviously got the two competing times that are running throughout this movie, and it covers a lot of Christopher Nolan's auteurship, which I wasn't expecting going in. Yeah. And then coming out, I was like, of course it was. It was never going to be anything but a Christopher Nolan film. But Odysseus, the man himself, what did we think of Matt Damon?
He was very, very good, but I think he got outshone by the cast around him. But he was a very solid. He's solid enough in himself. But he's come to prove that with The Martian and films like that. Air, I loved him in Air. I say the problem is he just got outdone by other people, I think.
What I really like about Matt Damon, and this might sound a little bit hyperbolic, but he's the modern day James Stewart for me.
Yeah,
because I feel like he's got more of an everyman than your Clooney's and even Affleck, and those are two actors I've got a lot of time for as well. But I feel like with Matt Damon, he appears a lot more relatable than most other actors, and I think that's what you needed here. You didn't need someone who was going to be big and flash. You couldn't have Tom Cruise in that role. You couldn't have Nicolas Cage in that role. You need someone who can give you the Kevin Foley role, that 7 out of 10, that consistency, that he knows his character and he's not going to waver from it. And I think he was actually the perfect choice for it in the end.
Yeah. Seeing as he's the main character, he's not the main character, is he? Because he is the thing to keep the thing going, keep the story going. Yeah. He is just that thing in the middle, just keep the story going along. But
structure, isn't he?
Yeah.
And like you said, there are some absolutely phenomenal performances throughout here. What did you think of Tom Holland? Because he's someone I've not got much time for.
Bless him.
And yeah, I think he was quite overshadowed, but he did try. Bless his cotton socks.
He was fine, and bless him. That's a compliment at this point. Let's say, because as this comes out on a Tuesday. Tomorrow, I'm going to be seeing him in more CGI slop, where he's not going to have to act very much. Whereas in this, you actually saw an actor. Whatever you think of him, his skills and stuff like that, you saw him trying, and for that alone, he has to be lauded.
Yeah, I've got to say, it's made me want to watch his Fred Astaire movie. Yes. And like, I wouldn't generally be that arsed about a Fred Astaire biopic, but this has made me think, you know what? You've earned another shot. I know you're going to do Spider-Man and whatever you've got to do, but I will give you a chance of doing some proper acting, haven't you seen this? Because being stood there next to Anne Hathaway and Robert Pattinson and John Leguizamo, giving 3 of the best performances I've seen in anything this year,
Yeah.
and not letting the side down, actually being fine, if nothing else, being solid.
Yeah.
I think he deserves a shot at maybe doing something more than sloppy shit. Yeah, absolutely.
I said as we're coming out of the film, we've had the Tom Holland and John Berthnell team up for the adults here, and then next week the kids get to play.
That's exactly it, isn't it? A lot of people take the piss out of John Bernthal because he's just so New York.
Yeah.
But actually, I thought he did a decent enough job masking that accent.
Yeah.
At no point did I just think, oh, that's just Shane from The Walking Dead again. I thought he was decent in this. He's an actor I generally quite like, even though most of his characters are pretty much the same. But I did like him.
It was sort of the same, weren't it? War veteran with PTSD. But he kind of played to type a little bit here, but that's fine.
Yeah, no issues with that. Obviously, there was quite a lot of controversy. I say controversy. There was no controversy. There was a lot of shit cunts on Twitter complaining about having a trans male and a black woman in a film set in the Mediterranean, because apparently everyone's white around the fucking Mediterranean.
Yeah.
I mean, neither character were in it for more than 5 minutes on screen, so it was quite worthless. But Elliot Page is a fucking tremendous actor anyway, and I really liked the role of Sinon. I thought that was a really interesting role, because we have Sinon there being someone who is weak but brave, and then you have Pattinson back at home being strong but an absolute pussy. I really loved the use of Elliot Page in this film, and the scene when they're on Hades and we meet Elliot Page again, Sinon again. He was just fantastic.
Yep. Do you want a hot take? I wouldn't be surprised that if Nolan didn't think there'd be such an uproar, he would have cast Elliot Page as Telemachus, and they'd have switched the roles with Holland.
Potentially. The only thing I'd say is I feel like Elliot Page looks older, whereas Holland still looks like a child, even though he's 30, I think, at this point. Yeah. But
I think with Elliot Page's acting chops, I would not be surprised, because they've worked with Nolan before. In Inception,
yeah.
Nolan knows what he's getting. I would not be surprised that he probably wouldn't have. He would have wanted Elliot to play Telemachus, and I think it would have been a better. I think if he could have changed anything, I would have changed that, because I think they'd have given a better performance. But
I think if it was 5, maybe 10 years ago, I could absolutely say that. I think it's literally just how they look.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I think that does it for me. But yeah, I wouldn't have been opposed to that at all. I will say I feel like they underused Helen and her sister, whose name I can't remember.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, I can't remember what Helen's sister's name was. I kind of feel like they're a little bit underused, because I don't know the story of the Odyssey outside of like a few episodes of DuckTales back in the 1990s. I know the headlines. I don't know the actual story to it. I kind of wanted a little bit more of both of those characters. I thought they were interesting. I liked the story with what happens to Agamemnon, keeping it spoiler free. And obviously the events between Menelaus and Helen post Trojan War once she's back. I kind of wanted a little bit more of that. That's my only. I've got a couple of criticisms, but like, it's proper nitpicky, because there's not much I didn't enjoy about this film.
No. Well, I wonder if he's tried to nullify the complaints that were going to come because they cast a black person as as Helena Troy, the person who's born by hatching from an egg, because realism, but we're going to complain about a black person playing it. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Step too far, because Egypt isn't spitting distance away, is it?
Well,
idiots, ridiculous. 3 hours felt like 20 minutes. Genuinely, I was so annoyed at the end of it. I was like, I want more. I've been here 3 hours, but I want more of this, because I really enjoyed it. I know we've got Mission Impossible coming up, which was 2 hours. That felt longer than 3 hours. This was 3 hours and felt shorter than 2 hours to me.
Yeah. As I watched the 10:10 in the evening show, night showing, and the film it kicked out at 1:30 in the morning, and the staff were like, "Oh, was it long?" And I said, "It were 3 hours, but it did not feel it." And that's the best thing you can say about a 3 hour film. If you don't feel, if you're not once looked at your watch, then they've got you.
Yeah, 100%. I really thought it was excellent because at no point did it drag and at no point did it feel rushed. Everything had the room to breathe, to let the moment land where it needed to. And it's all the better for it because of that. Whereas I feel if they kept it slow to force it to 3 hours, you'd be bored shitless. If they rushed to fit everything in, you'd be overwhelmed. And they didn't either. Yeah. Nolan played this perfectly, I thought.
I've seen people complaining that they didn't spend enough time with the Cyclops because there's more to the story of the Cyclops. But it's like, no. Like, we got exactly what we needed from it. Like, It was horrifying and it showed that they were in deep shit, and then they got out, and for some reason Odysseus decided to rage bait the fucker when they got out.
Yeah. I saw something on that, because apparently like they spend a year with him or something, and there's also like a part with how Odysseus and Charlize Theron's character, keeping it spoiler free again, how they spend a little bit more time together than what we get to really see. But it didn't need that, and I think especially because the extra time that he would have spent with the Cyclops would have married up with the time that he spent on the island of the giants, and also with some of the stuff that happens with Samantha Morton's character. You're just repeating the same thing. So you don't need that. So keep it concise and keep the story moving. So actually, it's people who just want faithful adaptations.
Yeah.
I've got to be, I don't really ever want faithful adaptations anymore. No. I want your interpretation of that story. I can just read the book. I can read. I'm a fucking adult. I don't need to just be told the same thing visually. Give me something new. And that's what he did. It felt like it was this story that's, centuries old, but given this fresh coat of paint. Yeah. And I really appreciate it for that.
Yeah. What did you think of Ludwig Göransson's score?
I thought it was good. I think Oppenheimer's was better because I think he worked on both, didn't he? If I remember correctly.
Yeah. Apart from the bow scene is just it's just going to go down as one of those moments, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. The finale, that whole story, the visuals married with the music was just perfect.
Yeah. And I think this will last longer in the memory than Oppenheimer, purely because of the memes. Without, obviously, we're not spoiling anything because you will have seen the memes by now.
Almost.
But that Pattinson meme is going to outlive us all, I think, at this point. The amount that I've seen, the amount I've sent to you it's fucking superb.
I think that's always a good sign as well, because for a fact there's people sharing that meme who have no idea what part of the film they haven't even seen the film, a lot of them, and that's a hell of a way to break through into the mainstream.
Yeah.
So I think it will, and I think it's a more accessible film than Oppenheimer was. Not to say it's a better film or whatever, but I think it's a more accessible film.
Yeah, I think to lose the term of the gamer, it's a bit more pick up and play, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't need to be a Greek nerd to enjoy this.
No, you absolutely don't. I appreciated that. I mean, I am someone who does like a bit of mythology. Like, I've got a couple of Norse and Celtic mythology books knocking around the place. I do like a bit of mythology.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they never showed us the gods in this.
Yeah.
Without wishing to spoil it too much, Athena we don't see Athena, and even though she plays a role in it, I thought was interesting. We see the hand of Poseidon without seeing Poseidon. We see the hand of Zeus without seeing Zeus, and I thought that was a much better way. It's having their presence there without being so obvious to just put them in there. It starts with saying it was a time of perceived magic, and I like that it was perceived deities, not actual deities. I thought that was the perfect way to play it, again, without alienating anybody.
Yeah, again, without spoiling the film, the Athena, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
that when the penny drops, it's superb. Like when you see it, to people who are listening who haven't seen it yet, when it happens, you'll be like, "Oh, that's superbly played, well done."
Yeah.
And it's not even the flashing neon sign, in a sense, is it? It's just oh shit, that and then you go oh
Yeah. It was such a clever move, and I think framing it around a war hero coming back and suffering from PTSD, not someone who's big and bullshit and happy with the spoils of war, was the right move in this. Really do. Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. Anything else worthy of mention?
I'm trying to think.
Himesh Patel. I thought
Yes.
Himesh Patel was really good in this.
I thought, yeah, he was fantastic. I enjoyed most of his crew, to be honest. Even the ones who didn't have much of a role, like the way you could feel them turning. There was a lad in it. Was he in one? He was a doctor in one of the Asian lad.
I recognised his face, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what from.
He's in something I've seen. I say John Leguizamo was superb. I even thought Mia Goth was fantastic as well.
Yes, I really liked the use of Mia Goth in this. She wasn't in it for a long time, she was just in it for a good time, and I dig that a lot.
We love Yon Lee. The Good Doctor.
Okay.
It was Dr. Park in The Good Doctor. Who else was there? Looking through all the performances now. There's just so many, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, we very briefly mentioned John Leguizamo. The first time I broke in this film was the moment he lost his faith, because he's such a staunch supporter of Odysseus throughout the film.
Yeah.
His performance, that moment where he broke me.
Yeah.
And there was a couple, especially towards the end. I think ultimately I felt so sad that I'm never going to get to see this film for the first time again, because I just loved it so much. I thought it was, just magnificent. I think that was the word I used.
What did you think of the aura farming by Agamemnon?
He was cool as shit. The very first time I saw the back of his helmet on the poster, I thought, I'm not digging that. That doesn't look quite right. But actually, when you see him in the film, and Benny Safdie isn't some big imposing dude.
No.
Like, the suit is doing all the heavy lifting there, which kind of works perfectly for who his character becomes, I think.
Yeah.
So, actually, I think it was the right move.
Yeah.
And it puts him up there with, like, Darth Vader immediately.
Yeah.
Just so big and imposing and terrifying. I thought that was excellent.
Not having to do anything. All he did was walk around, and he was just badass.
Yeah. The scene where you see him stood there in the doorway and then the army rush past him was just one of the coolest looks I've ever seen. Not rushing himself while everyone else is just tear-arsing about the place. Like, that is cool.
I've seen a quote, I think it was from Damon, he said he shit himself at that scene because he didn't realise how many extras they had. He thought there was only going to be a couple of guys, and then they open the door and there's hundreds of people charging at him.
Amazing.
Absolutely incredible. I think what's helped as well, and helped, we've watched this weekend, and then without wanting to shit on it, and I know it's going to come back, and he's going to come back in a tantrum next week. But we've watched this marvel of practical effects, etc., and then the trailer for Doomsday came out, and it's just made me double down on real is better, because how beautiful this was compared to what we got served up in the trailer.
I mean, obviously I haven't bothered watching it. I'm so far out of the loop now that I have no interest in trying to claw my way back in. But I have seen some of the still images from it, and the colour grading and stuff, and it looks so bad. And some of the volume work and green screen and stuff, and I just think you've probably spent double the money that most films have done just to make it look half as good. And it's quite embarrassing at this point how much some films can spend and make it look so false. Yeah. And once again, I'll just read the comic books. That's fine. I don't need you to make it look like a comic book. I've got comic books. But yeah, there's nothing exciting. And for the first time in a long time, it feels like the mood on social media is a lot more 50-50. And not necessarily people saying shit for the sake of it, but it just kind of feels like a lot of people now are like, I think I'm just done with this. It's not exciting anymore like it once was.
Yeah.
It does feel like there's been a sea change there.
Yeah. We'll get more into that on the comic book episodes, I'm sure.
Yeah, as I said to you the other day, I'm kind of looking forward to, is it October? I think we usually do the comic book episode.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to it because I've seen, outside of Supergirl, I've seen nothing and I've very little interest. We do need to do an episode on Spider Noir, but I still need to watch it because that world just doesn't excite me anymore, which is quite sad, really. As someone who still reads comic books daily, that's not a good sign.
So there is still good stuff out there, but it's mostly adjacent to that universe.
It's a bit sad, really, but not to worry. I'm sure there won't be trouble in the top 5 for yourself anyway when we come to do it in 12 months' time. Okay, quick break, short film review where we'll be discussing Finding Daddy. Welcome back. It is the short film review where we'll be reviewing a short film in the 60 seconds or shorter time span. This is called Finding Daddy, a dark comedy short about two sisters who discover their estranged father living a flashy, delusional life on the dating apps. Directed by Emma Wilson, starring Cricket Harrison, Lauren Servideo, Manzi de Young, and Jake the Snake Roberts. Ash, would you like to go first or second?
No, I'll go first.
Okay, put a minute on the timer. Tell me when you're ready to go.
Go. You could have served me anything up at all. You gave me Jake the Snake Roberts playing a sugar daddy who's got bitches, he's got money, he's got blow. I loved it. It could have been anything. You can easily please a wrestling fan. If you put a wrestler in any piece of media and they have fun, because you could tell he had fun with this. We all had fun. I thought the two girls playing these nasty, dirty-looking girls, you could sense it. And then to watch Jake die of a heart attack, it's probably a horrible premonition of what's coming.
Depressingly accurate.
I had a barrel of fun. This was good.
Excellent. Okay, my turn. Right, what a strange little movie. Knowing Jake the Snake Roberts' real-life issues, both as a dad and with his own dad, I went into this expecting it to be a lot darker than what it was. But after doing this feature a few months, it kind of feels like comedy isn't the genre that most short filmmakers gravitate towards. So I was genuinely nicely surprised to find one that leads into humour without losing its edge. And I do think there was a bit of edge to it. Yeah. It's a simple setup. It's pretty bleak. But after discovering their deadbeat father is on the dating apps, offering himself up as a sugar daddy, Dinky and Flossie decide to confront him. And what follows is this kind of tight little back and forth, a moment of genuine shame, followed by this wild ending swerving into something stranger and completely triumphant, more than you would have ever expected. It's a very short, fun, bleak realism, suicidal ideation film, but it's got this really weird, heightened, dark, triumphant ending that feels absurd and completely honest to the movie. A weird little story, but a good one, I think.
Yeah.
You are right, though. I mean, anytime as a wrestling fan, I'll watch it. It'll be the worst thing I've ever seen. Like, I've seen Wrestlers versus Zombies. It's fucking horrendous, but I love it.
As a wrestler
but yeah, this was solid. Yeah, I enjoyed this. Next week we will do a teachable moment. So we've done one comedy. I thought we'd stick with comedy, Ash. Henry lies at the side of the road, bleeding out from a gunshot wound. A young mother with a bizarre sense of appropriate uses his final moments as a teachable lesson for her 6-year-old son. As I said, it's called A Teachable Moment from 2016. It is available on YouTube.
Oh.
All right, up next, Mission Impossible 2. Okay, released on the 24th of May 2000 in the US, and we got it a couple of weeks later in the UK. Do you remember that used to be a thing? Like, in the old times, they used to do these like just a couple of weeks. Now we either get months or we get the same day and date release.
Yeah.
And usually when it's months, it's just because it's a small studio distribution. It's kind of weird now when you look back at those times.
Well, we've got a couple of them this year. Say, I'm looking on the high seas, and I've got the Brendan Fraser and Andrew Scott one, the World War one. That's already on there, and the Robin Hood one, that's already on there. So we're not doing too bad this year.
Yeah, keeping up with it at least. But yeah, Mission Impossible 2, directed by John Woo, starring Tom Cruise, Tandy Ray Newton, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Doug Ray Scott. Am I missing anybody else? Ving Rhames?
Brendan Gleeson.
Brendan Gleeson and his big old pudding head. What was that accent, Brendan?
Oh,
mate, just
stay Irish.
Yeah, you're Irish, and you've got a fucking tremendous Irish accent at that. So, quite why he tries to play an Englishman, I don't quite understand. It didn't work. I wonder if it's because of Doug Ray Scott's wondering accent, because he's Scottish.
There was a bit of Scottish in there. There was a bit of Scottish dropping in and out there. I was like, ooh.
It was very inconsistent. Was like he was in Edinburgh 1 minute, Inverness the next, down to Glasgow. He was all over the shop. It wasn't the best Scottish accent I think I've ever heard from a Scotsman. It's a bit of a strange one, that one was. I felt like Mission Impossible 2 felt very dated. And like, obviously, we've just hit 2000, so we've watched 80s and 90s films. They felt like period pieces. This just felt old.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, it was a mess. I think it just felt a mess. To go from Mission Impossible 1, which was a surprise because, say, I've not seen the early ones and I'm used to the big set pieces, to go from an actually enjoyable spy sort of thriller to whatever this was, just night and day.
This isn't a spy film, and I kind of feel like I can't remember 3 very much, if I'm honest, but I feel like all the other ones do feel like they are espionage movies. This just feels like your Communal Garden action film. Like, that could have been Sylvester Stallone or Arnie Schwarzenegger. There was nothing about this film that felt like it was a Mission Impossible movie. And I know that, I'm sure Stu had said before that at this point, they wanted Mission Impossible, each one to feel different, so they had a different direction. Obviously, this is John Woo on this one. And John Woo just doesn't feel like he fits this world at all for me.
No. Well, what else has John Woo done?
Face Off.
Anything else?
The Killer's a good one. Hard Boiled, like a couple of his Hong Kong movies. Like, he's got some decent films, but like his biggest and best for me, probably Face Off.
Yeah, and I don't think that's really. Are we really looking to do that sort of film? Yeah. It didn't feel like a Face Off.
No.
Like, again, I don't really know what it was, because the action that we've come. Well, luckily with hindsight, the action that we're used to with Mission Impossible is not that. I think pretty much the biggest set piece is the start of the film.
Yeah,
and once
I quite liked that scene. I thought that was a cool scene on the plane,
and the rock climbing, rock climbing. But after that, I know we're used to him doing absolute madness. But was there anything else really?
It was a struggle. I feel like it looks like a John Woo film. Yeah. So much slow-mo. We had the doves, we had the explosions, the sparklers in the background and all that. And it just didn't fit with what... And maybe it's just because we are now 26 years later and Mission Impossible has gone from being slightly different to pretty much identikit Chris McQuarrie films.
Yeah.
But that said, I feel like you can plot a through line from the first Mission Impossible and see how we get to the Chris McQuarrie films. This doesn't feel at all like it's in that world to me.
No.
And it really spoils it for me.
See, I can only go from from Ghost Protocol but that was what, 2011, and that's 11 years
like that,
11 years from this, and that is just galaxies above of what this was.
Yeah, definitely. I remember at the time not liking Mission Impossible 3, So I'm kind of intrigued to see how that's going to fit in now. Because I remember enjoying Mission Impossible 2 for the most. But actually, no, I'm sort of second guessing myself a little bit on those early ones. So I'm wondering if it's going to be better or worse than this. Because this just, like I said, this doesn't feel like a Mission Impossible film in the slightest. It's a weird one that just doesn't sit right. And I think as well, the plot just was paper thin. It was literally, Ethan Hunt has to stop a virus from being released. That was the plot.
Yeah.
And all of the others, if anything, they're too complicated, especially in comparison to these. Like, there's a few too many threads in other ones. And this one, there's just not enough threads to keep this one even remotely interesting. Like, the first one had a few decent twists and turns, and there was quite a lot of intrigue going on. So this is such a come down in comparison to it. And I think that is what made this film feel like it was 6 hours long.
Yeah. I say I was time clock watching at certain points and checking to see how long I had left, because if I weren't watching it for this, I'd have turned it off.
Yeah, 100%. It was a real miss at a time that John Woo is, his star is doing pretty well. Cruise is obviously the biggest actor in the world at this point. So it feels like a real misstep. Some of the good, the motorcycle duel, it was stupid, but I did have fun with it, I think.
Yeah.
Tandy Newton and Tom Cruise's chemistry, I liked it. I know you didn't like the car chase nonsense, but as a fan of Fast and Furious, I did kind of like it a little bit. But that being said, I do feel that the script doesn't help them out at all. Their relationship feels a bit forced, even though I do think they were kind of hot together. It just didn't feel very natural in the confines of the movie.
Yeah, you can sort of you could see them together. To be fair, like it wasn't him and Nicole Kidman in Far and Away. It did feel like you could sense that they were about to bang. It's just when you've just punted the girl nearly off of a cliff, and then they go, "Let's go and fuck." It's just like, okay, right, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. It was fucking sound. It was weird, but it was sound.
Yeah.
I would probably give a similar critique to Dougray Scott as well. He's I think he tried. I think the script let him down as well. Like, his character was, I'm an angry Scotsman with a virus.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, he presented no real threat. There was, not much energy. There was not much charisma to the character. He ultimately came across as quite forgettable. And as I said, that accent was not brilliant. Right. So does he run like in slow-mo with explosions going off behind him? He doesn't walk. I think he just runs pretty much everywhere in this film. I don't remember him taking his shirt off. I don't recall any cruise nips in this film.
No, he did when he was shagging Newton near the start of the film.
Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it. I can't remember it. Does he wear sunglasses? We get the Oakleys right at the start, and that's how he's given his mission. Oakleys, I think, make this film feel quite dated as well.
Yeah, you don't see many. I say that looking at my pair of Oakleys.
But yeah, the wraparound Oakleys, you expect someone to be wearing a Charlotte Hornets vest top and a Reebok jacket. Like, it just feels early noughties. And Matt's going to hate this, but Limp Bizkit being on there just doesn't help either.
No, that dates it a lot.
It does. It really does. Explosions. It's John Woo. There are lots of explosions. Almost the entirety of the third act is just an explosion for reasons. So Cruise doing Cruise things. The very opening climb, he trained with elite free solo climbers, insisting on doing the climb himself. If there was a safety harness, it wasn't visible. Like, I couldn't see it on camera. Cruise is actually doing the one-handed hang off the side of Dead Horse Point in Utah. Like, this feels like where the legend of Tom Cruise really starts to grow, I think. This is where we get told, oh, he does his own stunts, don't you know?
Yeah.
Apparently, Cruise said, if I don't do it myself, the audience will know. Well, that's just pure uncut Cruise, isn't it?
That's pure Cruise,
Cruise was the driving force between the motorcycle duel. He wanted real motorcycles, real speed, real jumps, real collisions. In the final fight, a real knife was used, and it really was 1 centimetre from Cruise's eyeball. Cruise insisted on the real blade, the real proximity. He wanted real danger. And this is the first time we've heard of this one. Cruise put himself on a Woo training camp. He studied John Woo's entire filmography, all his Hong Kong film, all of the gun fu choreography, all the slow-mo, all the doves, the fire, the duality. Cruise wanted to envelop himself in Woo's artistry. And to achieve that, he trained in Aikido, knife fighting, close quarters gunplay, and even took motorcycle stunt training. Like, he was all in on this film, which makes it all the more disappointing that it was a bit shit. Cruise and John Woo, so there's a bit of mutual respect there apparently, but Cruise's intensity caused tension. Woo admired Cruise's courage but feared for his safety. Cruise tried to monitor editing remotely and Woo shut it down. Apparently Woo did not want him to do the stuff with the real knife at the end, which, I mean, you can understand why. Like, he must have been terrified for his safety, because not only is John Woo his director, John Woo is also Tom Cruise's employee, because he's the producer on this film. Yeah. So, like, he's doubly fucked if things go wrong there, and it wouldn't have been his fault. It would be that Tom Cruise is a legit maniac. Tom Cruise and Thandie Newton. Apparently, Newton found Cruise overwhelming, stressed, and dominant. She described this experience as a nightmare, though she acknowledged he was trying hard. And from, like, what we just read about, the kind of things he went through, I can sort of see it.
Yeah.
And, like, as we spoke about briefly last week, this is the start of the point where Cruise is just going to be doing mostly action stuff. Like, it feels like he's saying, that's where I want my career to go next. So he's turning it up to 11 to try and fit it in. So, yeah, he probably was trying too hard, if anything.
At some, he's going to find the sweet spot soon. But obviously, we're at the top half of this, and he's going to figure out a certain point. Okay, tone it down and make it look a little bit better. Yeah,
definitely. Dougray Scott praised Cruise's stunt work and commitment. No drama, just 2 actors doing a physically brutal shoot. So I can see why they would, because they did have like a fair bit of physicality together. But I can also see why he may have wound people up the wrong way. But I think this is the first time that we've heard of any real tension on set with Cruise.
Apart from Pitt in View of Vampire, but that was professional.
Yeah, definitely some jealousy going on there. I think 2 of the biggest names at the time, and both wanting top billing. Right, Scientology Watch. So picture this. It is May 2000. Cinema audiences sit down with their popcorn expecting a high-octane summer blockbuster starring the king of comebacks himself, John Travolta. Instead, they are pelted with nearly 2 hours of severe camera tilt, aggressive blue lighting, and an A-list movie star stomping around on stilts, supporting thigh-high platform boots, long dreadlocks, and breathing through tubes jammed straight up their nostril. Welcome to Battlefield Earth. Have you ever seen Battlefield Earth?
If I have, I don't remember it.
To the rest of the world, it was an immediate cinematic train wreck, a movie so universally mocked that critics likened it to being hit over the head with a heavy metal lunchbox. But to John Travolta, this wasn't just a movie, this was his holy crusade. Battlefield Earth, it wasn't hatched as a studio pitch session. It was adopted from the 1,000-page sci-fi epic written by L. Ron Hubbard, the Pulp Fiction writer who founded Scientology. Travolta, a devoted high-level member, had spent nearly 2 decades obsessively trying to bring his prophet's vision to the big screen. When major studios repeatedly laughed him out of the room, he used his post-Pulp Fiction star power to bankroll the $73 million catastrophe himself. He didn't just star in it, he bought the fundamental belief that this movie would change human history. And that's where the fun stops and the chills set in. Because behind the absurd rubber foreheads and laughably bad dialogue lies the true mechanics of a high-control group in Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard isn't just an author. His words are used as absolute scripture to these people. To doubt his genius is to reveal yourself as a suppressive. So imagine being an executive, an actor, or a crew member on that set. You are surrounded by Sea Org handlers who believe genuinely think that they are creating a masterpiece that will save humanity's immortal spiritual beings, or thetans as we know them. No one could say, hey John, maybe hold off on the nose tubes. No one could say the camera is tilted at a 45-degree angle again. Total obedience produces total blind spots. Reality isn't allowed on set, and when the source is already dictated perfection, it's going to be a mess. So when the film hit theatres, the reality check was brutal. The Hollywood Reporter ran the infamous headline, Battlefield Earth collapsing at the box office. John Travolta's Scientology passion project declared historic flop. It netted a record-breaking 8 Golden Raspberry Awards, yet inside the church's inner circles, the narrative had to hold. True believers bought out the entire theatre auditoriums to artificially inflate box office numbers, sitting in empty, echoing rooms just to convince themselves the world loved L. Ron's vision. And that's kind of the true horror of this cult. Like, it takes genuine talent and immense wealth and human devotion and trap them in this echo chamber so thick that you can wear platform boots and alien dreadlocks, crash $70 million into a ditch, and still think that you're saving the planet. It is legitimately one of the worst films I've ever seen. It's a struggle to get through. It is such a mess. It's not even on the so bad it's good side of things. It's on the this is just bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we could almost do it as like one of the side quest weeks because Scientology.
Yeah.
But I want you to watch The Room before I make you watch anything anything like Battlefield Earth, because it's just abysmal. I really hated that movie. So the big 3 awards, cumulatively, we're up to 23 wins and 63 nominations for films featuring crews, up to Magnolia. Unsurprisingly, there are fuck all to add to the big 3. However, there were a couple of Razzie nominations. Mission Impossible 2 was up for the worst remake or sequel. It lost out to... I think I've got the tab open still. It lost out to Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, which is not a good film. Not a good film at all. The other films that were up that year were How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which I don't remember being a good film, but I don't remember it being like the worst film. The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas, which I have absolutely no recollection of.
Oh, no, I'm not having any of that.
That's got a 3.8 on IMDb. Is that one of the Baldwins?
Yeah.
It is. It's fucking Stephen Baldwin. Jane Krakowski.
John Goodman's not playing Fred anymore, and it's Mark Addy.
Dear me. I mean, as a devoted 30 Rock fan who watched it again for like the 10th time only 2 weeks ago, the fact that Jenna Maroney's in it, I might have to watch that film. And Get Carter was the other film, the Sylvester Stallone remake, which is abysmal. The other nomination was for Tandiwe Newton, who was up for worst supporting actress.
I
think it is as well. She was up against Patricia Arquette in Little Nicky. I've seen Little Nicky. It's not very good, but I don't particularly remember Patricia Arquette. Rene Russo in The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, which I've never seen. No. And Joan Collins in the Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas. They all lost out to Kelly Preston in Battlefield Earth. Kelly Preston is Mrs. John Travolta, I believe. Or rather, was Mrs. John Travolta. 2020, no longer with us.
I bet that went down
well. They're not a good bunch, to be perfectly honest, because I'm pretty sure his son died because of the Scientology, because they wouldn't help him and take him to a hospital, so he died. So, with all due respect, fuck him. Absolute pair of cunts.
Wasn't Kelly Preston in Jerry Maguire?
Yeah, she played his love interest at the very beginning, didn't she? The nut job. Yeah. So the critical response at the time Mission Impossible 2 was received as a big, stylish, empty spectacle. Critics praised John Woo's action, but thought the plot was thin and the film overblown. Desson Thompson of the Washington Post, the real deity of the movie is Woo. Brilliant action sequences. Roger Ebert, more evolved, more confident, marries minimal character development to seamless action. Dennis Harvey from Variety, an empty luxury vehicle. Flashy packaging with absolutely nada inside. Jay Hoberman from Village Voice, a vaguely absurd epidemiological thriller filled with superfluous setups and stale James Bond riffs. The modern reassessment isn't massively better, to be honest. It's been reappraised as a chaotic, over-stylized outlier, a film whose excess is now more amusing than infuriating, but still regarded as the franchise's weakest entry.
Yes.
Christy Lemaire from RogerEbert.com. So, is the movie a tacky hoot? Yes. But until the god-awful last half an hour, it's a surprisingly fun tacky hoot. I disagree. I think the last half an hour is the most fun, and the rest of it's terrible. The Cinephile Hissy Fit podcast, the unbridled wilderness of it all remains an absolute jolt worth celebrating.
No.
Not for me. And Lawrence Topman from the Charlotte Observer. The movie is a straw that refuses to be spun into gold. The budget and box office, the budget was $125 million, which gives us a cumulative total of $789.8 million. And the box office returns was $546.4 million, which gives us a cumulative total of $3,948.6 million. So, I mean, we're going to be hitting the $4 billion mark in the next film. He's almost certainly going to have made over 52 million, I'd have thought, on Vanilla Sky's up next. So, yeah, $4 billion and, not even 20 years worth of work. What an incredible achievement it is. Cage or Cruise?
I think Cage might have made it a bit more interesting in a sense. I don't think he wouldn't have obviously been doing the cliff climbing and stuff like that. But yeah, this wasn't Cruise's most interesting performance. So I think Cage might have brought a bit more interest into it. But yeah.
I sort of agree. I think if this wasn't a Mission Impossible film, if this was just a action movie, I think Cage would have been more interesting. I think he'd have brought a bit more energy, and I mean, he might have actually been good in this movie as the Doug Ray Scott character. But I don't see anything in this other than Cruise's enthusiasm. But it just doesn't pay off for me. So I'm leaning towards Cage as well. Is Cruise the saviour of cinema or just another sinner?
It's going to have to be a sinner for this one. Just not enough. There's not enough, and like you say, we've gone from Magnolia last week, where he showed off such acting chops, and this is just a different world.
Such a step down, isn't it? It's almost insulting to have gone from what he's done to this. I feel like he's trying his hardest to be the saviour here, because he's pushing every stunt to the very edge of what they can possibly do, and he commits to the operatic madness that you associate with John Woo, trying to elevate this terrible fucking plot. But he indulges in every excess that you associate with Tom Cruise. Like it feels like Cruise is self-mythologizing here to the point of self-parody almost. Yeah, he's a sinner. But it's not for lack of trying, but I'm afraid he is a sinner.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed Mission Impossible 2, you may also like...
Oh, God. Went with Bourne. Go with a Bourne. Any of them. Pick any of them. If you want a bit of a laugh, go with Johnny English.
I obviously went for Face Off, just for the woo of it all. And like you've got the thematic and visual similarities there. Or Crank High Voltage, because this film leans into the silliness, which sort of spoils the movie, because I don't think Mission Impossible is about the silliness, whereas Crank and High Voltage lean into the silliness, and they are absolutely about the silliness. So I think either of those two films would be a good watch if you enjoyed something like this. So as I said, up next is Vanilla Sky, a self-indulgent and vain publishing magnate finds his privileged life upended after a vehicular accident with a resentful lover. It's directed by Cameron Crowe, who did Jerry Maguire, starring Penelope Cruz, Cameron Diaz, Kurt Russell, Timothy Spall, Tilda Swinton, Michael Shannon, and Jason Leigh. That's a hell of a cast. That's a really strong cast.
That's a good cast, that,
this was a film I really liked at the time. And I think when we started this podcast, this was the film I remember saying that this is the one I'm kind of worried about how it's going to have aged. Because I wonder if in the 25 years since, whether or not it's just not going to be the film I recall it to be. I remember it being a bit of a psychological sci-fi thriller with love interests woven in and out. I probably liked it because I really like Jason Lee, having been a fan of Kevin Smith's work.
Is that band name's Earl?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah. A guy who you just don't see anymore, sadly, because I really liked him. Although now I'm thinking about it, he was a Scientologist for a short period of time. I'm wondering if that's how he got this role.
Okay.
I think Ethan Suplee as well was a Scientologist, Earl's brother, Randy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. But we'll say, I'm looking forward to seeing the film, but I am a little bit trepidatious. Have you seen that one before, Ash?
No, not seen that one. I'm quite looking forward to that one. Penelope Cruz and Cameron Diaz, you can't really be complaining too much. Cameron
Diaz is another one, like an actor who I really liked back in the noughties and just don't see anymore. I know didn't she have that comeback film, was it last year? I think it was like a straight to Netflix movie. I can't even remember who else was in it. But I planned on watching it and then it's 12 months later and I still haven't given it the time of day.
She's got a thingy, isn't she? She's got Shrek, the new Shrek coming soon.
Oh, is she doing that? Oh, I suppose she was the voice of the princess, wasn't she?
Oh, wow. She didn't do anything after Annie till Back in Action.
When was Annie? That's like 2011, maybe? Or 14? Oh, I don't think it was even that late.
11 years. Back in Action with Jamie Foxx.
Oh, God. Yeah, I can't imagine that's good. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually know why she stepped away from the screen, because she was hot as shit for quite some time. Like, everybody wanted her in their films, and yeah, just gave it the ghost. I genuinely, I'd like to know what happened during those years away. Quite an interesting one.
She just, before Annie, she did Sex Tape, which I enjoyed, with Jason Segel, and The Other Woman with Leslie Mann and Kate Upton. I thought that was great little film, that one.
I don't think I've seen that,
With Jamie Lannister.
Oh, right, okay. Interesting, but obviously we're going to have another one of hers. We've got Night and Day, which is her and TC as the main pair. I haven't seen that one. I'm kind of looking forward to that one just to see what that one's about. But anyway, that's next week. So yeah, that'll be the next week's Tom Cruise film. And as I said, the short film review is going to be a teachable moment available on YouTube. I'll put the link in the remarks for Finding Daddy if you want to watch it. And I think both of us think you should watch it because it was a lot more fun than I expected going in. So for this week, if you would like to make sure you subscribe to whatever podcast you listen to us on, that would really help us out. And if you could just give us a few minutes of your time to leave a review, again, that just kind of helps us on the charts a little bit and might help other people find us. If you want to get in contact, it's at Cage Fighting Pod on all of the socials, and it's cagefightingpod@gmail.com if you've got any emails you want to send our way. And for this week, Ash, would you like to say goodbye?
Don't forget, Zeus's law tells us to treat strangers well, because they might be gods in disguise. Bye.
It's goodbye from me too. And remember, be excellent to each other.